You're listening to the Hunt Stealth Podcast with Ryan Uffens, the podcast where we dive headfirst into the wild. Whether you're an aspiring hunter or an adventurer seeking the untamed, together we'll explore the strategies and stories that lead to success in the great outdoors.
Okay, hey guys, we're here today with Stieg Phillips, who is the owner of Muley Maniacs. Stieg, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, anytime.
Hey, I want to talk a little bit about your product. I'm sure we've got some hunting stories that we can get into, but we've had a little bit of time talking. And I personally was impressed when I first met you down at the Hunt Expo. I walked over and the first thing I asked you was like, hey, like what makes your tripod different than all the others that are out there? And you just like nonchalantly walked up, grabbed a hold of the thing, lifted your legs up, and just sat there and hung on it for about 10 seconds. I mean, that thing is built like a tank, and it doesn't weigh
Yeah.
like a tank either.
No, that model only weighs 4 pounds that I was hanging on, so it's not
What
like
model
the
was it?
crazy big legs. That's the red line model.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
It's not like
So,
the ones that you see guys hanging on that are like crazy big legs from time to time. It's actually pretty thin.
so 4 pounds, and it holds over 200. I know you're not 200 pounds, but I believe you said that it's weight rated to over 200 pounds. Is that correct?
The most we've had so far is we had a guy screwing around the one day. We had a guy sit on top of it that weighed 230 and the legs didn't budge at all. So I'm
Really?
pretty comfortable to say over 200 pounds.
Okay. Awesome. Well, hey, why don't you tell a little bit like how did this thing, because you've been in business for 5 years now, thereabouts,
Yeah.
right? How did this whole thing come to fruition? Because it's a fun story.
Uh, well, it was really just, I always wanted to do something in the hunting industry. And living in southern Nevada, glassing is all we do nonstop when we're hunting. We'll go sit on a hill for hours and just sit there and look. And a good tripod goes a long ways when you're doing that. And my problem is in high school and everything, I could never afford the good tripod. I always wanted it, dreamed about having it. So basically, I just took what I would have wanted when I was in high school and tried to make it affordable so that other people could actually afford to have a nice tripod too. And so that's really all it is I took my dream tripod that I always wanted in high school and made it so everybody could afford one.
So, Steve, tell me, where does it fall in price range compared to some of the other like top line models that are out there? Because I would consider that red line that we were looking at as a top line tripod.
So your red line, the red lines are the high end of our stuff. Still, your comparables for the red line, you're going to be looking. So we're at $899.99 on the red line. Your comparables to that, you're going to be looking anywhere from $1,200 to $2,500.
Wow. What is your best selling tripod?
It has been the Pro Carbon in the past. The red line is quickly coming up. I think it's going to be pretty close in combat between those two. But I think the Pro
Okay.
Carbon has been the most popular because it's the best tripod for the money, really.
And what does that one run, folks that are like for me, like I don't have a tripod right now. Like I just everything I'm doing just like running gunning. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm trying to figure it out. But for folks that are new to it, they're going like, "Hey, I want to get in on this game." What's what is that? What does that one run?
So that setup is $499.99, and that's your legs, your head, and two quick release plates. So the two quick release plates was a big one for me because I live an hour and a half from somewhere I can go get a second quick release plate. So I remember when I did buy, I would go through tripods quite often, just buying cheap ones. And when I would go buy a new tripod, the head would only come with one quick release plate for it. And then I'm an hour and a half before I can go get another one. So I was stuck switching it from my spotting scope to my binoculars back and forth until the next time I ended up either in Cedar City or St. George to get a new one.
Mm. Well, so you really did build this just for someone like yourself that's
Yeah,
just trying
I
to
did it.
save some money, has everything, and
Yeah, I just did it exactly how I would want to buy one.
that's awesome. And you guys have been just killing it at the Hunt Expo. I came over there. You guys were pretty busy. It seemed like you guys had a pretty good showing there.
Yeah,
What's been like, what do people say that have started using your tripods that have maybe used, another tripod, then they switch over to yours? Like, what's been the feedback that you've received?
all the feedback I've got on them has been nothing but great stuff. I've got a lot of guys that have started using them that were using the $2,000 tripod setups and had multiples of them, and they've since sold off all of those and are just running the Canopy tripods now. So I haven't had any complaints. We try to make sure everything is customer friendly, try to do our customer service the way that you would want to be treated with customer service. So when anybody calls for customer service issue or emails, they're actually dealing just with me on it. So we just take care of them right there.
Well, and speaking on that, I know we chatted a little bit earlier. What kind of a warranty do you have?
So we do lifetime no questions asked warranty. And that's when I say no questions, I'm probably going to ask just because I want the story, because I want to be able to tell people how we do our warranty. Like I had a guy last year that was hunting desert bighorns in southern Nevada. He'd been out there for a week looking for a particular ram and hadn't found him. Finally spotted him, all excited, hopped in the truck, backed over the top of his tripod and his Koa big eye binoculars, completely destroyed all of them, all of it. And we just replaced his tripod for him because it doesn't matter. Accidents like that happen, and we're willing to take care of it.
Well, I think that goes a long way to one, just the type of company that you're trying to build, but also just like the product. I mean, if it's taken a truck running over it to break it, you've probably built a pretty solid product. And like you said, we're not asking what happened, like why, as to whether or not you're going to, help them out. You're asking why just to figure out what happened,
Yeah, just
give me the
just my
story.
own curiosity.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
I think that's.
I'm kind of surprised that that broke it because I have a few other guys that have told me that they've ran them over in trucks before on accident or ran them over in their side by sides and nothing's ever happened to them.
Hmm. Well, I mean, like I said, just what I've seen limited at the Hunt Expo, and what I'm gathering is it's quite the product that you've developed, and it's going to be, it's lightweight, it's durable, and it's pretty affordable as well. So, what's been some of the craziest stories that you've heard aside from that? I mean, do you get stories from folks that, I mean, not that it's necessarily broken, but people that are using your products? I'm sure that they're finding some like monsters out there.
Oh yeah, you hear plenty of stories, guys. Trying to think of one good one off the top of my head. Usually, I only ever hear from them if there's an issue, which I kind of like because the issues tend to be really extreme. Like I had a guy a few years ago call me that he was running our pro backpacker model, and they'd shot a bull up on the top of the hill, up top of this giant mountain, and hiked up there. They're packing him out, and we do options for walking sticks on all of our tripods. So the pro backpacker has one walking stick on it. So he had, what did he tell me? A front quarter, a hind quarter, and the back straps on his pack going out, and caught the leg in some shell rock and fell on top of it with all that weight. And the pro backpacker's a little leg, and it ended up just cracking the carbon fiber on it. So we ended up having him send that leg back, and we just rebuilt it and sent it back out to him.
Mm, that's awesome. Well, I think you've got a great product. I think it is great that you take care of your customers and they keep coming back for more. I understand also that there's a group that's out there that's a rather large name in the hunting industry that sent a wish list over to you for what they're out doing this year. Do you want to share with the folks uh, who that was and what they're doing?
Yeah, yeah. So we had,
It's okay.
uh,
I'll name drop for you. I'm not going to make you do it. So a lot of the guys over at Meat Eater, they sent a wish list. They said, "Hey, here's what we're going to do. Right? This is what you've told me. Here's what we're going to do. You send us over what you think would be best for the type of activities they're going to go do. And they've been using them all this year, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So they used them all the 2024 hunting season. There's going to be
Okay.
multiple episodes out this year on Meat Eater where they're running our tripods, and I've actually had a lot of pretty decent feedback from them on them. A lot of guys really liking them over there.
Got any little bombs you want to drop on us or you want to wait for you? I guess we don't want to spoil their video releases. That might get you in a little bit of trouble, so we won't do that.
Yeah, yeah. We should probably
But
wait
all
a
in all,
minute.
they were pleased.
Yeah, yeah. They were. They were definitely happy with it. How send a few of our phone adapters to them, the Muley cams that we make, and sounds like there were a few guys that really liked those, and so it was pretty good. From the sounds of things, they're gonna really enjoy them.
That's awesome. Well, that's exciting. That's big. I mean, I'm sure once they start dropping their episodes, that'll be some great exposure for you and for your business there.
Yeah, I don't, off the top of my head, I don't remember which one is
Hmm.
being released first, but basically any of their Western hunts are gonna be featuring our tripods in them.
That's exciting. Congrats, man. That's fun. I mean, those guys are they're incredible at what they do and have a big reach, and hopefully they will help spread the word about what it is that you're trying to build over there and the great product that you have.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they're great guys too.
Yeah.
Really good guys.
Yeah, well, I had a chance to meet a bunch of those guys when they were out here when Steve was releasing his one of his new books, his new cooking book last year. He was in town in Salt Lake and we were able to go meet those guys. And they're just normal guys that hunt and they love to hunt and people like to hear about their hunting. So speaking about that, maybe let's just shift gears here just a little bit. Well, actually, before we do that, for people that are interested, Dee, you had said that you were going to do a special discount for our audience members. Are you still, I'll put you on the spot here. Are you all still okay with that?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Let's do we'll do 15% off. And what should we
Oh,
make the code?
well, let's make the code stealth.
Okay.
Does that work? Okay.
Yeah.
So for those, if you're interested and you guys want to try this product out, go to muleymaniacs.com and at checkout, we're going to enter promo code stealth and it's going to give you a 15% discount. And for whatever reason, when we were talking, a lot of people will go to the website and they will check out and buy your product and they will not enter the promo code. You guys, he's giving you 15% off. Enter promo code stealth at checkout and save yourself a little bit of coin. And yeah, let's see what we can't do to help him move some product and site wide, like anything on the site.
Any of the tripods or Muley Maniacs gear. I can't do the optics. That's a different company that
Okay.
I'm friends with them and help them out that way.
Well, yeah. So any of the tripods, any of the Muley Maniacs gear, 15% off with promo code stealth. Okay. Not that this was supposed to be an infomercial. I just love the product, and I think what you guys are building over there is super cool. And I say you guys, and I guess I just mean you, because your customer service, you are manufacturing, you're order and processing, you're the whole deal. So yeah, you guys support Stieg and what he's building over there. I mean, if you're in the market, there's been I don't know if you want to name mention anybody else that's using your product. But I know Rusty over at Baby Booners, he was or is he still running your tripods?
Yeah, he still runs them. He, as
Okay,
far as I know, that's the only tripod he runs. He hasn't told me any different yet. So
okay. Well, we'll ask him. I'll send him a message and be like, "Hey, are you still running this? Because if not, you better start because we told everybody in this podcast that you're running it." He's a great dude, man. I'm looking forward to chatting with him again and. Uh, yeah, we got something else that we're working on there, but yeah. So, I mean, the guys that are out there that are like grinding and that are out there really putting in the work. I don't want you to have to like name drop people, but you've got. I mean, we've already talked about meat eaters. I know Rusty's a great guy. You guys shared the booth, I believe, with him. Did you guys was that right? Were you sharing the booth there?
yeah, yeah. So what we did was kind of fun. So we had a 20 by 20 right there last year that we had invited them into, and they came and hung out with us. Then we just got lucky enough that they got the 10 by 20 right next to us. So we were able to open the whole thing up and make it huge. And then just from the pure, I don't know how you, I was going to say luck, but I guess it's not really luck, but they had ended up scanning those replicas of the world record mule deer that we had there. So just from that stuff, they're able to get some monster bucks in there. And I don't know. I love it. I think it makes the booth look awesome. Have their stuff all set up with the giant bucks and the tripods all through it. I think it looks pretty sweet.
Dude, that world record was a monster. It was insane. I couldn't, I mean, you see pictures in that, but when you see like in person, it's incredible.
It's
So that
giant.
was fun that you've been able to work with those guys and be close. So
Yeah, the crazy thing
anyway,
is they were telling me up there that world record. He's the world record Boone and Crockett, and I don't know if they talked to you at all about their volume stuff that they've been doing, where they try and figure out the volume of, or they figure out the volume of the horn, tell you how much horn is there. So even
yeah,
by volume, that world record is still the world record. It's still the biggest they've scanned.
insane. It was, I think there was between two of them. I can't remember how many inches they had, but it was, yeah, they started going, like I said, I'm new to this hunting game. You guys start talking Boone and Crockett, and I'm like, dude, give me a spike or something that I can shoot legally and fill my fridge. Like I'm still at that stage of the game. So for anybody else that is out there that understands the Boone and Crockett, I'm sure you guys have seen and been aware of that, but that world record buck, man, was something else for sure.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I think scoring an animal is all. I don't know. I don't agree with it. I use score to tell somebody without showing them what it is. So like
Yeah.
if I say, I've got a 200-inch deer on the wall, people understand what a 200-inch deer is. So I can tell them that. But in reality, man, I don't care if it's a big 2 point. If it's big, I'm going to shoot it. I
Yeah.
don't care what they
Yeah.
score.
So, Steve, tell me, let's maybe just talk a little bit about some hunting stories like growing up. So you've been hunting your whole life because obviously, we had said the whole thing that brought this Muley Maniacs to fruition is like your desire to be able to get like a tripod that you could afford, right? That's affordable. So as you were growing up, like what was your favorite hunt growing up? That maybe just a fun story to tell or just memorable that kind of helped you fall in love with hunting.
Uh, so I don't know that really one stands out to me much. So from the time I was a little kid, we were out hunting every weekend, every year. We were out, and it was back when you could get a tag every year. So every year we were out every weekend, the whole family, my aunts and uncles, everyone. I remember being a little kid, and during the rifle hunts when it was colder, my dad would stick me in the box on the back of the four wheeler, those little boxes that you can store stuff in. He would stick
Mm.
me in that and pack a bunch of coats around me to keep me warm. And I remember he would tell me all the time, if you cry, you don't get to come again. And so I just wouldn't cry. So I'd be happy as could be just to be out there riding around looking for deer and hanging out. I do remember, actually, I do remember one story. I don't even remember where we were or anything. I was just little at the time. But we'd
Like how
walk
little?
up,
Like are we talking like two or three,
probably like 4 or 5.
6? Okay,
Probably,
so still
yeah,
little.
yeah. So I remember we'd gone up and we got off the four wheelers and we were walking this fence line up to look into this basin. We had my dad's cousin with us. It was me, my dad, and him. And
Okay.
we got back up into there, and sure enough, there's a nice buck standing out there, and he set up and shot. And I'm guessing he missed. I don't know. I don't remember a deer being killed. All I remember is I jumped so bad that they laughed. They were rolling on the ground laughing and fired like another 4 or 5 shots up onto the hill, making fun of me. They'd pull the trigger and jump 10 feet in the air and making fun of me the whole time we were up there. That's probably one of the most memorable stories I've got. I remember we got up there, that happened, then we started just sitting there watching the opening. It started snowing on us. I just remember it being an awesome day, and I don't even think we killed anything.
That's one of the things that we talk about with a lot of people is there's the desire to go out and, harvest an animal, but there's so many times that people go out and they don't end up harvesting an animal, but it's just like the memories that are created, um, that you can sit down for years and years and years later and talk about it. It's a pretty incredible thing.
Yeah, I always tell my wife all the time when we're out, when you think of some of just the views and the places that you get to see and things like that, there's a lot more to hunting than just the animal and just the thought of hunting what you would normally think of. There's a lot more to it than that. And just to be on top of a mountain and look out and go, man, this is awesome. Watching a sunrise come up from 9,000 feet up. It's just there's a lot of really neat, cool experiences that you wouldn't get if you didn't hunt.
Elevate your next adventure with blue coolers from Cata Sports, designed to keep your food and drinks ice cold no matter where the journey takes you. With top-tier insulation, rugged durability, and built-in wheels for easy transport, these coolers are the ultimate sidekick for all of your outdoor adventures. Best of all, they deliver unbeatable performance at a price that won't break the bank. Head on over to catasports.com and use promo code Ryan10 to save 10% off your order.
That you wouldn't get if you didn't hunt.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking with the guys who were at PSC Outdoors. I called it mountain medicine, and Ty was like, "Well, that's what I call it." And I'm like, "All right, well, we can call it that together. We're going to do a collab on a t-shirt, mountain medicine." But just
Yeah,
getting out there on the side of the mountain, and it's it's refreshing. You're able to kind of have like just a mental reset, you know. And yeah, I just think a lot of people that maybe not everyone that's against hunting, but specifically people that are against hunting, they think we're just like bloodthirsty animals. Like that's we just want to go out and like kill stuff. And there are some people that just want to go out and kill stuff. But I think for the most part, it's just like the whole um, journey, just being out, being alone in the wilderness, on a mountain, next to a river. Trying to chase down an animal, and if you harvest one, great. But if you don't, it's still just it does a lot for the soul, at least in my opinion.
yeah. So have you got into the archery hunting side of things much at all, or
That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm
is
doing is
it?
archery. Yeah,
That's
and
that's
it's
a
a grind, man.
oh, and it's like a whole nother different kind of hunting. I think archery is honestly probably one of my favorites. I'm not real successful at it, but I mean, even looking back like this last year, I had a really good elk tag, and just the opportunity and being that close to the big bulls that I was chasing and stuff, it's just, I mean, how do you beat it? When you've got a giant bull raking a tree 20 yards in front of you and you're sitting there waiting, going, man, if everything goes right and he comes out behind that tree, I got him. And just being there is so insane.
There is I think what I've discovered is I picked the most difficult type of hunting to begin with, doing archery. Because I was up with Dustin Quinn and Jackson. You met those guys. We were up helping Dustin and Quinn try and get a mule deer, and we had one that was probably, I mean, we had him at like I think Dustin ranged him at like 37 yards broadside, just a little like Forky, just sitting there looking at us. And anyway, he like draws back, and he's just like, I mean, he says he draws back, just, you never know. But he, all of a sudden, I'm standing next to him, and he's like, I'm sorry, I don't want to shoot him. And I'm like, dude, it's your tag. Do whatever you want to with it. But I mean, it was quite the experience. Like that was the first time I've had a mule deer within range on archery. And I feel like those sometimes can be even more difficult to get to than the elk, because they are, I mean, those things are just on, I mean, they're all on constant alert, but we've been able to get into some fun positions to where we're able to see some cool things. And that same day we saw another nice, big buck, and we're like, ooh, ooh, he's like, I would shoot him, but we couldn't get him over to us. We tried to push him up to Dustin's brother, but he blew out like the complete opposite direction of what we were expecting. But yeah, it's a fun thing being out there getting close to an animal. My closest was an elk I had at 30 yards. And it kind of like the same thing. I'm like, he's in like that scrub oak, and I'm just waiting for him to step into the opening. And then you feel that breeze hit the back of your neck, and it's like you're toast, dude.
Oh
And
yeah.
he just spins, looks, and then they're gone. But it's like you had talked about, like you're watching them sitting there raking that tree. And it's like if everything works out just right,
Yeah.
I'm, I'm going to be able to take this bull.
Yeah,
But
it didn't
have you
work
have you
out just right.
what happened? Was it just unlucky, or was there something that you're like, hey, I should have done this differently?
Well, it was just, I think it was just I mean, this was the smartest bull I think I've ever seen in my life. He was raking a tree and he stops and walks behind the next tree up the hill. And as soon as he comes out from behind it, I've got a good opening for a shot. So when he goes behind that second tree, I came to full draw. And the only thing I can figure is he saw my movement through a gap in the tree and froze right behind the tree. And I sat there at full draw for 3 or 4 minutes before the wind hit me in the back and he busted out of there. The bad thing is I never saw him again. I spent 2 months watching him, and to this day I haven't even posted anything about him on Instagram. I don't. He's big enough to the point that I don't want to post him yet, so he's staying hidden.
Well, maybe you may have to send me something offline. Would love to get a gander at him.
Yeah, I'll send you a
But
little video of him.
yeah, yeah, do that. That's exciting. Well, hopefully you get another shot at him this year and go out and see if you can get her done. That's fine. Have you
Well,
have you had a chance to take a bull yet?
I haven't. So
Archery hunting?
that was my first elk tag I've ever drawn. The bad thing with the state of Nevada. So I'm I can draw that tag again with roughly 10 points, but I have a 7 year wait period now after that hunt, so I have to wait 7 years before I can even put in for the tag again.
I hope he makes it 7 years.
Me too. But the good thing is my wife still could draw it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Does she hunt much?
we had she had her first tag this year. She drew 2 tags this year, first tag she's ever drawn, and they were both
So she's
adventure.
new to hunting then.
Yeah, yeah. Her family somewhat hunted before we got married, but she grew up in a small town. But their idea of hunting was they would cruise out to her grandpa's fields opening day and just shoot a buck out of the fields and take care of it and load it up and go. But as far as actually going out in the hills and camping and trying to find something to kill that way, this is the first time she's ever really done it like that. And it was fun. She had a
And
spike
how does
elk
she feel
tag.
about it?
she,
Okay, spike
uh,
out tag.
so it's funny. I took a couple of videos. I keep wanting to post them, but I keep thinking she'd kill me if I did. But so we found her a spike at her first tag. And in Nevada, spike tags are a draw. You have to draw them. So she'd drawn the spike elk tag. And the only spike we could find was about 2 miles back into a wilderness area. And I told her, I said, you know what? It's your first tag. Let's get you a spike. So we hiked up in there, and it's pretty brutal getting up in there. So on the way in, I turned around and videoed her, and I said, "How do you feel about elk hunting?" And she's panting like crazy, and she goes, "It sucks." And so then we get up on top of the point, and we get there. I mean, if we would have been 5 minutes later, we would have been too late. So we get up onto the hill, get her set up, and she shoots. And I'd never seen anything like this. She shoots, and he runs like 5 feet forward and stops. And so I tell her, well, get another one in him. So she puts another bullet in the gun, shoots, and he just tumbles right there. And I thought, well, I wonder if she missed him or something that first shot. We got over there, and her first shot was right at the bottom of his front shoulder, and his leg was completely broke off, basically. And he was acting like there was nothing wrong with him. He ran about 5 feet and was standing there like there was no problems at all. But so we got him all taken care of and decided we were going to get some more help and come back up the next day to get him out. So on the way down the hill, I took a video of her and I said, "So what do you think about elk hunting now?" And she, "Oh, it's awesome. I love it." It's like, well, that's the key right there. It's a lot of work, but when it pays off, it is really rewarding. Oh, you think you're muted?
I probably am. I think I hit mute for a cough that I did. But my thing is, I'm like at like the love it and I hate it stage because it's like yeah, like I said, for me, like just being out there, like I love that. And anyway, the I hate it part is like, how am I a guy with a hunting podcast that has yet to kill anything?
Yeah.
So so just I mean, like I said, we're having fun and get to go out and spend time like with my boy and with friends, and we've met so many great people that we're going to be able to go out and do some things with. So like that part of it is a ton of fun. But yeah, it when you're up there clogging up the side of a mountain, even if you love it, like there still is a little bit of like hate that goes into it. I mean, the legs are burning, feet are hurting, like everything's just kind of, a struggle and a grind. And yeah, but then I'm looking forward to getting that first bull down. And then the loving it part really probably starts to ramp up.
It's the reward part of it is just insane. I put a lot of work into my hunts, like this elk hunt that I was on. So our draw results come out usually mid-May in Nevada. I generally start scouting about mid-June, and then if I've got a tag, I very rarely miss an evening of being out glassing until the end of my hunt from mid-June until then. Just putting in the work to make sure that I know what's there and pattern it and know how I'm going to get on it.
Yeah. What do you think is like the most difficult part of like whether it's elk hunting or mule deer hunting? Like what do you think is the toughest part?
I don't, for me, it's always been the shot. I don't, probably not for other people. For me, I completely lose all composure right when I'm getting ready to take a shot. Like I'm
Really?
perfectly fine. Yeah, like I can have like that bull at 20 yards raking the tree. I'm perfectly composed, perfectly fine. As soon as he walks behind that tree and I come to full draw, I'm losing my mind. I can't hold still,
Shaking?
shaking all over the place. But at the same time, to me, that's what makes it fun. But I just can't seem to hold myself together when it comes time to actually perform and make the shot count. So for me, that's always been the hardest thing is I seem to be able to find them. I seem to be able to figure out kind of what they're going to do, how I'm going to get onto them. I think that just comes from a lot of time watching them. Like I said, with this bull that I was hunting, I'd watched him for almost every day for 2 months. So I knew
Wow.
where he was going to go based off of where he was on the hillside. But yeah, the second it comes down to having to make the shot, I don't know. I can't hold it together. But if I didn't get excited, I probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah, see, that's interesting for me because like I get like all worked up, like getting ready to go, right? Like, hey, we're gonna go. I get nervous about leaving and being gone for a couple days or a week or whatever it is. I mean, I've yet to go out for a week, but I get super anxious about that. But like that bull that I told you about, like when I saw him, I'm like, ooh, he's about 3 yards from an opening. Dude, I was for whatever reason, I'm like in my element because I'm like just calm. Like my heart's not racing. Like I'm just locked in. I mean, I'm sitting back there, like locked in on this thing. And then when I felt the wind hit, I just thought, shit.
Uh-huh.
And sure enough, like I said, like he blew out, and then like I, bring it back down. That part got me excited because I was just so mad because that would have been an incredible bull to start my hunting career off with. I mean, it was the first time I was out on an elk hunt. But for whatever reason, like whenever we've had opportunities like that one that we're sitting at, like Dustin, he was like, "Oh, dude," he's like, I knew I wasn't going to shoot it, but like he was like geeked out about it. He's drawn back, and he's like, "I'm just going through the motions to make sure that I'm doing everything that I would do normally if I saw something I was going to shoot." Um, but yeah, for me. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, maybe that changes, but maybe it's just because like like I haven't done it yet, haven't shot anything yet. Maybe after you have like that first animal down, maybe your mentality changes. I hope not, because I do like that calmness that I have.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of guys do they're like, because everyone like when I tell the story, they're like, "Dude, was your heart just going 100 miles an hour?" And I'm like, "No, I feel bad." But like everything else is what I get like super excited about.
Yeah. Well, it it's different for everybody. Like my dad and my little brother, they're the exact opposite. They're perfectly calm all the way through the first shot. After the first arrow or the first bullet goes off, if it's a miss, then it becomes a shit show. They're going nuts, yelling
Chaos.
at each other, trying to get things going and stuff like that. But for me, I've always said archery hunting. For me, I have to have them close enough that I can't miss. It's like I've got a pretty nice archery buck that I killed 4 years ago, and I shot. He was about 10 yards when I shot him. So that's what I say. They've got to be close enough that I can't miss. Shooting a target,
Yeah,
I can
that's
shoot a
that's
target from a long ways away, but they've got to be really close for me to kill them
Were
with
you
my
were you
bow.
were you holding a piece of corn up for him to come into and take from you when you shot him?
Yeah, that's what it might sound like. It was funny. I don't know how it worked out. He was in the bottom. I spotted him in the bottom of a big sagebrush valley. I had like 2 days left on
And
my
was this
hunt.
is in Nevada?
Yeah, I had like 2 days left on my hunt. The buck that I was after had disappeared on me. So I was like, you know what? And at the time, I didn't even really look at him that close. I just looked and went, that's a good enough buck. I'm going for him. I got 2 days left. I saw that he had a couple of extras. I was like, yep, again, I'm going after him. And so I just grabbed my bow all by myself and went, I'm just going to walk down through the sagebrush and see what happens. So I just started walking down through the sagebrush to him. And then sure enough, he comes up over this little rise right in front of me, maybe 100 yards. So I just squatted down in the sagebrush, got the rangefinder trying to range him, shaking so bad I can't range anything. She's like, okay, put that down. Just went, all right, when he's close enough that I know I can't miss, I'm going to
You got the
drop him.
range finder sitting there. It's picking up every other distance but what the actual one is.
Yeah, yeah, he was somewhere between 20 and 300 yards and all that. But yeah, so I just went, well, he's close enough that I know I
So
can't
you could
miss. I'm
see
going to
him.
take the shot. So he came right up and he turned to kind of go down into this little ravine. And went, all right, well, he's not getting any closer than that. And came to full draw and he stopped and I just put it right behind his front shoulder and shot. And he whirled and ran like 200 yards and tipped over in the sagebrush. It was to watch it happen like that in the sagebrush was pretty cool. Just to watch him running down through the sagebrush, thinking, well, now what? I've never really watched it from this angle this close. It never happens in an open spot like this. And he just ran down and just
Yeah.
stopped and fell over right there. It's like, holy cow, that was kind of cool.
That's a good way to have it all come together.
Yeah, it was fun.
I could imagine what it would be like being able to sit there and like watch it kind of unfold, like you say, 10 yards. You place the arrow right where you want it. You were even shaking, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh, I hit him right where I wanted to on accident.
that's basically what it was. Yeah, I
And
don't
then
claim to be
so
something
he
I'm
he
not.
ran 200 yards. What's that?
I don't claim to be something I'm not. I don't claim to be some professional. I get nervous as can be.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's life. I mean, it's one of the things that we've talked about so much is it's just like just being out there like boots on the ground. It's just going to make you better at what you do, whether you're nervous or whether you're calm. You're going to be able just to put the pieces together that's going to be able to help you be a better hunter. And do you get as nervous when you're like helping like your wife, like when she's out on her hunt or like, or is it different?
It's it's a different kind of nervous. It's I don't want to say I get snappy with her, but I kind of do. Just, heart's going, adrenaline's pumping. Like her buck this year, it was a blast, but I remember the one point me like not yelling, but softly yelling, like get over here and get on the tripod, get set up to shoot. Because I told her like 3 or 4 times and she had her hood on and it was cold and she couldn't hear me. And it turned into a panic. She ended up missing that shot. Just deer running up the hillside and get her over there, finally get her set up on the tripod. And the buck's going up the hillside and it was just, it was a, she hadn't been around it enough. And he'd started to slow down and the way he was acting, I could tell that he was going to stop to turn and look to see what we were. And so I was waiting to tell her to take the shot. And as soon as he started slowing down, she took the shot, not knowing that he was going to stop right there to look at us. And she ended up missing him, but we were able to come back the next day and find him and get on him. And we were about 50 yards and she shot him with the muzzle loader.
That's awesome. That's fun. It's fun. Like I've yet, like, I know a lot of people like will name like the animals that they're chasing. And I've yet to see one that I'm like going back after. I'm like, I don't know. It's like I'll take whatever. But I think it's fun to hear those stories where you go out and it's like, hey, you're on this buck and you shoot and you miss and you go back out the next day, you're able to find him again. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty exciting,
Yeah.
the
I
chase,
think
right?
I think a lot of things just from listening to guys talk about hunting and stuff, I think the one thing that a lot of people don't understand about that stuff is unless that deer smells you or hears you, there's a really high chance that you'll be able to find him again. Like not like hears you step on something, like actually hears your voice. It seems like those are the two things that really scare them, is just smell and the sound of a human voice. So as long as they don't smell you and they don't hear your voice, you can sneak in, take a shot like that, and if you miss, there's a really good chance that within the next week you'll be able to turn him up right there in that same spot again.
So note to self, if I let something fly, I'm not gonna yell like, you gotta be kidding me. Don't
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
Because then
As
they
long
will
as
be like,
yeah, that seems to be when they disappear is when they hear you talking or smell you. They disappear and you don't ever find them again.
I
No,
keep I keep asking my wife if she wants to go out, and she's like, "Eh." I got her up once to do some scouting preseason. Yeah, she was not having it.
yeah. Usually, so in Nevada, here where I hunt, you can drive everywhere. There's roads on top of every hill. So most of our scouting is you drive up on top of the hill and you set up there in glass for the morning or evening or whatever. So usually when I take my wife out, it's usually we get up at 3 or 4, get out there, drive out, set up, and then she sleeps in the truck for an hour or two, and then gets out and goes, "Well, what have you seen?" And then she wants to look at all of it.
That's probably a better way to do it. Yeah, that's probably a better way versus me just taking. She doesn't. She likes hiking. She likes getting out there, but she is definitely more of a city girl for sure. She her idea of being in the outdoors is like she's like I could go fly fishing if I could wear like a cute sundress. She's like there won't be any bears, right? And I'm like, well, not necessarily. She's like,
Yeah,
but like there's no mountain lions or wolves or anything, not necessarily. So,
yeah,
but she's willing to at least try the fly fishing. So we're gonna get her out doing some fly fishing this year, see if we can't, ease her into it. Because yeah, I mean, I think it would be fun. I mean, She enjoys it. She could probably outwork. It's not a matter of her fitness level. She could probably like outwork me on the mountain. It's just the dirty, icky, scary, sharp teeth things that scare her. And like I said, we've been out on walks up in Garden City, and we've crossed paths with a couple bull mooses, and she's like, I don't know which would be worse to her, like a bull moose or like a black bear.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we don't have any bears
that's
down
nature.
here. Yeah. So I couldn't tell you there, but I would definitely be afraid of a bull moose. The stories that you hear about the
They
moose,
are
they
we
sound pretty scary.
Yeah, where we go up, um, doing our archery hunting just in Davis County here, like it's not too far from where we live. We've come across like a mama up there with some calves, and that makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Like seeing like a bear, stuff like that wouldn't, but seeing, well, I mean, if you saw a black bear with some cubs, or you see a cow with some calves up there, that makes me nervous. That gets my blood pumping. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, what can I get behind? I'm like, what? Yeah, that could be bad news. That's but also like if you're smart, you just keep quiet and don't do anything to provoke them. Most of the time, you're going to be okay. It's like I see these tourist videos on Instagram where people walk up to the bison and they're like trying to pet them, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Uh-huh.
I mean, then you see like they'll run at him, they'll drop to the ground. Or I saw one guy, he was out like just bicing around on the street, man, just buffalo grabs him and just see this guy somersaulting in the air. And I'm like, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
They're
I
not
see. I think the
cows.
same. Uh-huh. I think the same thing every time I see one of those is, what did you expect? You'd go up and try and pet a wild animal.
Yeah, I'm survival of the fittest sometimes. It's like, well, they're just going to continue to like thin the herd themselves.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like for predators out in the wild, I think the animals that you're around more, the more you're around them, they bother you less and less. Like you're talking about bears and stuff. For me, if I saw a bear, I wouldn't know what to think or do. I would be a little worried, but I've never hunted around bears. I've never been around bears. But I
mm,
see several mountain lions every year while I'm out hunting, and they don't bother me at all. I just look at them and think, man, that is cool. You watch them walking up a hillside and just think that thing is dead silent going up that. He could be coming up behind me and I wouldn't know. It's just kind of cool. But it's something I'm around a lot.
yeah. One of the fun things, if you're into predator type hunting, is Utah right now. Like if you have a license and you come across a mountain lion, you can kill it. Like
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of mountain lions. I haven't seen any this year. I was talking to this one guy a couple months back up at the shooting range, and he said he just lives at the base of Farmington Canyon here, right next to his school, and he's told me that they've had to shut the school down a couple times, get all the kids inside because there's mountain lion down prowling around the school grounds. And I'm like, dude, here's my number. Call me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'll come. I'll come take him.
We get way into the predator hunting over here. We the coyotes, all of it. That's probably one of my favorite things to do is hunt predators. And I mean, we
I've
do.
I've heard that.
So the big thing with Nevada is I can legally spotlight and hunt predators at night in Nevada. So
Oh,
we're
really?
actually, yeah, we actually just came. Our bobcat season actually just closed February 28th. So after that, no more bobcats, and coyotes are really hard to kill this time of year. But usually come October till the end of February, we're hunting predators. And our bobcat season starts in November, and that's really when we get after it because a bobcat fur is actually worth $400 to $500. And if you've never seen a bobcat up close, dude, they are the coolest animal you will ever see. Just pretty
Really?
as can be. Oh yeah, I love bobcats. They're gorgeous.
Did you get any this year?
Yeah, so in Nevada we don't have a limit. I know in Utah they limit residents to six. In Nevada you can kill as many as you can find. So I had 18 this year, which is the
Wow,
best year I've
that's a
ever had
lot.
for bobcats, but it's nothing compared to half of the people I know.
I mean, do you just use the skins? Like, do people eat them? Because I know, like, I was talking to Donnie Vincent, and he was talking about how good mountain lion is. And
Yeah,
a lot of people were kind of shocked to hear that. But do you eat them?
I haven't yet. I've been trying to talk myself into it because I've heard that bobcat tenderloins are very good. They're not real big, but I've heard they're really good.
Okay.
So, but I haven't been able to talk myself into it quite yet. But you know, I mean, I guess I've been doing it
Well,
for a while.
we'll have to keep in touch, and maybe maybe we do a little cook off at some point. See if we can't. We'll try it together. How about that, Steve?
What we need to do is next year during bobcat season, we need to have you come down. We'll go try and get a couple killed, and then we'll try having a little cook off with both of them.
There we go. I'm down to twist my arm. I'm there. You tell me when, and we'll get down there and make it happen.
Yeah,
That sounds like a lot of fun.
it's a lot of fun.
And maybe if we go ahead.
I was gonna say it's a lot of fun. I take a few buddies out every year that have never done it before, and every one of them after is hooked. They love it.
Really. And so, is it hard? I have no idea, but is it hard for like an out of state guy to get some Bobcat tags, or is
So
it like the same as like for you? Is that what you were saying? It was limit to six for out of state residents?
no, I was saying that's what Utah does with their bobcats is they
Utah. Okay.
limit their residents to six. So Nevada, you can't shoot a bobcat unless you're a resident. You can shoot
Okay.
coyotes, and if you have a hunting license, you can shoot kit fox and red fox. But we don't get very many red fox down where I am.
Okay. Well, I
Yeah,
wouldn't even
so
know where to go look for bobcats up here in Utah, but I'll definitely come down there and be your shadow out while you're out there getting your, well, I was going to say filling your limit, but there is no limit.
yeah,
Bobcats
that,
Unlimited
usually
with
the way it
Stieg
goes is
Phillips. That sounds like a new TV series.
it sounds like a pretty fun TV series to me. Usually the way we end up doing it is I'll have my buddies come and they'll shoot all the coyotes, and I won't even shoot anything unless we find a cat, and then I'll shoot the bobcats. But bobcats, they're hard to find.
Okay.
They're like hunting a big buck or like hunting a big bull. They're hard to find. If you know what you're doing and you know where to look, you can usually come across one if you go out for an entire night. But it's not always
Mm,
like that.
yeah. Well, we'll have to get it on the calendar. Get down there this year. So October, was it October? You said
But
kind of starts.
November,
That's for your coyotes.
yeah, we start hunting coyotes usually in October, but November is
But
usually bobcat season opens November 1st usually.
okay. Well, good. We'll get it on the calendar.
Yeah,
Steve,
I
man,
think it'd be
hey, I
blast.
really appreciate your time. It's been a ton of fun getting to know you and talking to you, and I'm glad that we've got a hunting date set for November for us to go out and get some bobcats and coyotes. So we'll have to plan on that. Just reminder, you guys, if you go to muleymaniacs.com and at checkout, enter promo code STEALTH, Steve's going to give you 15% off your purchase. So if you're in the market for a tripod and you want to try one of the best in the market, go head on over to muleymaniacs.com, enter promo code STEALTH, and that will get you 15% off any of the Muley Maniac specific products. So Deeg, man, I appreciate your time. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll have to do this again.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome, guys. Stay safe. God bless.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Hunt Stealth Podcast. Hey, I have a favor to ask. If you would and you enjoy this podcast, head on over to wherever you consume it and leave us a review. It's going to help us get this pumped out to more people that might be interested in hearing podcasts like this.